Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media. I'm Grant Abbott, and today we're going to be talking about important things to remember when building client relationships. So I've got my notes down here. I'm going to try and do this without jump cuts because it's much easier for me when editing. This particular part is going to be looking at the beginning of the creative process with the client. So at the moment, I've got an email from Andy. I've been sort of working with his game. I'm not doing a great job actually because I keep sending him things and they're not really that great. So sorry, Andy. But that's part of the creative process as well. But luckily he trusts me and he feels they're going to get better. I think it's the last thing I worked on was a tree, and we were trying to get a low poly tree that looked really cool. But in some ways, because their trees are so feathered, aren't they? They like usually in games, I don't know, Witcher is a classic example. They've got lots of trees in The Witcher. They use alpha channels to get really nice looking trees. So our challenge was to try and get a low poly tree looking that good, but I just failed miserably, unfortunately. But anyway, he's trusting me again with this challenge. So he wants his logo, or not necessarily his logo, but his brand image. His company is called Dinosaurus. Let me just check I get that right, because that'd be a bit rude, wouldn't it, to say the wrong name. So where are we? Dinosaur. Oh, I've lost the email now. This is how good I am at this sort of thing. Doing no jump cuts. This is probably where I'll have to do a jump cut. Where is it? Indiesaurus. Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Indiesaurus. Not Dinosaurus, because, yeah. Indiesaurus. Okay, sorry Andy, I'll get better with this. Anyway, so he sent me these images. I'll put them up on the screen. So we've got Yoshi. He wants to sort of he wants that sort of style. It is Yoshi, isn't it? Hang on, let me just check that as well. Yeah, Yoshi. And the orange dinosaur, which is pictured here, and a cross between that and the good dinosaur from the Pixar film. And then he said he liked my dog sculpt, the proud dog sculpt that I did in Sculpt January. So he was hoping I could sort of combine the four of those. In terms of starting the creative process, I've got those ideas. I could just sort of crack on and do an image based on those. And that's not a particularly good approach. Lots of beginners make that mistake when working with clients. They think, yeah, I've got the idea, and then they just go ahead and do it, and then they go back to the client with the finished result. Now that's, hopefully, you can see the problems there. We need some sort of communication to make sure we're on the right page, and that we're looking in the same direction. So often my students do that. So they'll get about 3 reference images, and then away they go. And it's not enough. There's quite a lot of pre-production really, and if you're working with the client properly and closely, and you want to build client relationships, then you need to spend a fair bit of time on that process, making sure that communication is correct before going into your final piece. What I've done is created a Pinterest board, because not that I dislike Andy's ideas, but and Andy has asked for sort of creative input as well from me. So I've created a Pinterest board. Now, if you don't know Pinterest, I'll get you can probably see it on the screen on the screen at the moment, but I'll put it up properly on the screen. If you don't know Pinterest, it's well worth using, because it's just really nice to be able to pin things onto a board and then share that board with someone else. I think you can put notes on it as well and things like that, but I tend to put the notes in emails, more saying the top one or number 5 has such and such. I like the chin in this one. So I'm trying to push Andy in a different direction, not a different direction, but push the idea forwards. And I think Yoshi is a dinosaur. It's not that it's kind of dated in a sense, because it's quite an old design in its sort of the way it looks, whereas this orange dinosaur I think is quite a newer look. Hopefully that makes sense, a bit more modern. So we need to sort of get Yoshi that sort of cuddly, lovable look, but with a bit more character, I think. And we don't want to just copy another design. Obviously, I don't know, Andy won't want to do that. We want to create our own brand, our own image, or Andy wants to create his own brand, his own image, and I want to help him to do that. And we need to push our own sort of brand, image. That's what I just said. What am I saying? Anyway, so I've got a few ideas here where I want to sort of push him in a direction of how can we get that lovable character, but still have our own ideas and create a new direction. So sort of, can we have this big chin of this character here, or can we have the big sort of teeth? Can we still have teeth but still be a lovable character? Is that possible? Big eyes. Yoshi has sort of fairly big eyes, but big eyes, how can we sort of incorporate those into our shape? Is it going to have a really big head, small body? Those sort of things. So there's lots of questions I need to ask first before moving on. So Pinterest boards are very useful for that. I don't think they're particularly great for using them as a reference when you're doing your artwork. I think PureRef, that's the one I'm looking for. PureRef is better for that. And in fact, Gleb Alexandrov, I think that's his name, did a very good tutorial on how to use that just recently. So I won't do that again. I'll just link you to that. But I think that's much better because you can quickly zoom into images, you can put it on top of whatever program you've got. It's just a much nicer way of using images. Whereas Pinterest, you can't really zoom into things, and it's just a bit awkward, and there's loads of space on your screen that's not being utilised. But PureRef, because they both begin with P's, I'm getting confused between the two, that's much better for actually using for reference images when you are doing your sculpting. I'm pointing down there because that's where my Wacom is, you see. Okay, so that's in terms of the communication. So I'm going to sort of send this Pinterest board, and that's the good thing about Pinterest as well. You can collaborate. He can then add things to the board as well, his own ideas. It's a slower process, but you don't want to be doing loads of work on something and then have that idea sort of, oh, it's not quite what I was looking for. And in fact, the client may even say, oh, that's great, thanks, and then not use you again because it didn't work, the process didn't work. It depends what sort of client they are and how nice they are, awkward they are, or whatever. But getting this right from the first point is the best way to move forward. Being adaptable, not going too far with your own ideas. Yes, so I'm going to do a jump cut in there because that was rubbish. So the other thing is to be adaptable. Don't run away with your own ideas, think you know better, because it's not your business, it's not your company, so you need to get on the same wavelength as your client, and that's going to be fundamental to your relationship. And that's another thing that I find my students do, because they're new to it, so they just sort of run away with their ideas, and then I'll say that they can't see what's wrong with their pieces. They think they're excellent. Now, this is not every student, of course, but a few students, they think, oh, that's wonderful, what do you think? And they're not actually asking me, what do you think? They're sort of saying, how about this? And I'm saying, oh, what you need to do, and they sort of shut down at that point. We must not be like that as freelancers. If you want to have a freelance career, you can't be that character. You have to see your work as it is the client's work. It may be your little baby in the sense that you've done this wonderful piece, but it is the client's work. They kind of own it, so you need to make it for them, and therefore you need to be really able to take criticism. Even if you don't like that idea, it's their idea, it's their company. You are the artist, and I've said that, you are the artist, so help them in the artistic process. Don't say, oh, okay, you want that, do you? Okay. I've seen people like that in the freelance world. Oh, you want that, do you? I'll do that then for you. And they're sort of begrudgingly making something rubbish because they don't like the client's ideas. Don't do that. Help them with the creative process, like I'm trying to help Andy here. He may not like my ideas, and he may think, no, I definitely want to go with a cross between Yoshi and this one. But I think he's still developing his ideas, and I'm trying to help him in that process and get him to have his own brand identity. And so you are the artist, help them in the artistic process, but they are the owner, so accept that they will have their wants and needs, and accept that wants and needs. I think you know what I mean. I'm not communicating that very well, but it's still their product, it's still their show. So make sure you're working with them on their level to push their company forward. I think that's enough from me. I've gone on for way too long on that. There probably will be some jump cuts in there. I'm going to mention my Discord server again because we've had some brilliant entries. Fatima there, excellent work. I absolutely loved that piece, and RC12 there as well. These are the winners from the 3D section. I had to have a joint winner because I couldn't choose between them. And then Mary. I always want to say Mary. I think there's a nursery rhyme, isn't it? Mary, quite contrary. Sorry about that. Brilliant 2D work there as well. Fantastic. The current competition is Perspective. So it's a sort of abstract, interesting one. You can really mould that to whatever you want to do, and we'll have fun. We haven't quite decided on the date. I miscommunicated with Naylor, my admin, and he thought I meant the 18th of March, and I meant the 18th of February. So we're just deciding on the exact date, but I'll put it in the description as well. And if I don't, then remind me. If you are still with me watching this, then thank you very much. So that's working with the client. The main thing, you're the artist, help them, but they are the owner, so accept the criticism and the feedback from them as well. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you, and I will see you next time.